Greetings, fellow governors and mayors alike. Radaman here. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land. Episode 6, The Path Forward Leads to Many New Lands. Investigations. A letter from Elaine reaches you late at night. I heard strange stories. Rumors are spreading that the royal couple has been murdered. I haven't found any clues yet, and sadly I don't know whom to trust anymore. But I know that I can trust you. That's why I'm asking you for your support. I need to make some arrangements before I can investigate further. Send bronze tools to the capital where I'm staying as soon as possible. So she wants 5 bronze tools and a lead bar. Honestly, it just sounds like she wants to bludgeon someone to death, but sure. Now the lead bar, that is a little harder to source. As I mentioned just a few minutes ago, there is no lead in Yoda Valley. There's only 10. So if we want lead, we're gonna have to settle like the hills, the mountains, the lakes, somewhere else. It can't be here because there is no lead here. So if I want to work towards that quest, we're gonna need a multi-colony settlement. And I think what I'll do is once I get the bronze part started and we get that house that I wanted to build, I will I'll show you the process of multi-colonies. Because I mean it's pretty straightforward, but I think it would be good for you to see all the same. Even though I won't be able to show you much of it. What is he supplying this thing? Oh, you're supplying... Oh, yeah, there we go. So he's about to make it. He's just grabbing the raw wood. Perfect. Yeah, there we go. He grabbed 63 raw wood. Perfect. We're getting bronze. We're in the Bronze Age. I'm also getting a pretty good amount of wealth. We stopped buying stuff and we started just selling stuff. So we've been selling raw meat, which we have loads of, to Hochdorf. And if we look at the census here, we do have the red deer taking a little bit of hit, but it's not like they're having some sort of population collapse. So it's obtainable. It's fine. The other thing we could do is, looks like there's some gray wolves around. Let's start killing them too. I got them trotting around on my farm walkways. It probably actually keeps all the prey away, or all the pests away. But we'll hunt them too. What's the pathing? How's the pathing so far? It looks a bit more robust than RimWorld and other colony. Yeah. Everything in this game is like simulated. And oh, there we go. Big cabin is up. And to that end, I have noticed that the characters in this game like are pretty good pathing. They're like pretty not dumb, which is fortunate. So we have our first big cabin, and I'm going to fill it with a whole lot of people. And then, what I want to do is I want to get the industry, because it's about to be winter, and I don't think it really makes sense to build a new colony like in the middle of winter. That's exceedingly dumb. So I'm gonna what I want to do is I want to sort of like balance everything here so that come next spring we can settle somewhere new. So one of the things I want to do is set up another farm. Let's get like a highly efficient farm up here, one that like takes advantage of all the local area. So I'm gonna build a farm there, run a mud road, and then once this farm's built, I'll like plant the hell out of this local area because there's just a big old flat zone here. To that end, I will run a road around it, reducing slightly the amount of stuff, but if we ever want to go up this hill, it'd be good to have a road around it, or path around it, whatever you want to call it. So I did hire another tailor because I see that clothing has been a recurring bottleneck. I might even hire 2 more. One of the reasons is I don't have the materials to do processing bonuses. And then another thing I want to do is to get the carpenter workshop up, because a lot of the bonuses I'm missing out on are a result of not having, like, a carpenter. I just don't know where to put this. Maybe I'll put the carpenter oddly up here. Yeah. Nest it right there, like, because we have the Forester's Lodge here. So it looks a little weird, but there's some synergy. So we're working on the stonemason building, which needs planks, a carpenter building, and a new farm. And here we have our lovely first big cabin. I would not call that a cabin. I mean, they do, but, like, that's more than a cabin to me. I think in the winter, I'm also going to change over some of the... Oh, you know what? So, the other thing that I just noticed, if we take a look at the farm here, it's basically just maxed. I can't store anything new because there's not storage room. So, on top of everything I got going on already, let's go ahead and grab the granary building. And I'm going to plop that... Because we're eventually going to want a bakery. So let's back up. Let's put a bakery here. And a granary here. Seems reasonable. And then we'll want a root cellar too. Because our farm is like full and has nowhere to put food. So we can't do any work anymore. And I'll put the root cellar there. So a lot of projects. I just made my people super busy. Yeah, cabins don't have all that extra trim on them. Yeah, that's like, what is that, Tudor style? Yeah, that's a Tudor style home. Roughly speaking. Not a cabin. But I'm no historical architect, so what do I know? So it looks like hiring the new tailors is hopefully helping. What's gotten built so far? Very little. The farm I'm going to set to low. The stonemason and the carpenter I'll set to high. Now, the stonemason to high, the carpenter on neutral. We have some additional bronze parts. And what I want to do in the activities here is open up bronze tools once we have maxed bronze parts. Which is going to be a while, because we only have 2 and we go up to 30. But that will be part of the, like, hey, I want bronze tools and a lead bar for the investigations. I know there's a lot more to do for that, but still. Alright, looks like I'm actually going to start hunting sheep. And rats. We'll sell the rat meat to Hochdorf, though, you know. They don't need to know that they're eating rat. Ambiguously crunchy meat. As far as progress here goes, now here's the big mix. Astrid, who was the first one to get to 4, is pissed. Because as soon as she hit 4, I'm not doing anything for her. So she's like, oh man, this sucks. And no one else has hit 4. So she just, it's actually kind of nice that it happened like that, because if more people hit 4, they'd all be pissed. So it's good that I'm just like pissing her off and no one else. The other thing I might want to do is move the sawing places. And I'm going to move the sawing places to over near our forester from where they are. Because previously we were cutting down trees around here, but we really aren't anymore. So there's no point in like having to haul wood all the way down. And I think that will help with our logging bottleneck. So we'll get that going. Wow, look at our gold. We might want to like think about importing more stuff from Hochdorf, because we've just been selling them stuff, and I'm sitting on a whole bunch of gold and with nothing to do. I don't know if there's anything I want to sell. Or buy, rather. I guess we could buy clothing. So let's quickly take a look at the Tibblelands. They have basic clothing and rough rags. So maybe because we're having a hard time supplying that for ourselves, that's something I could buy as a stopgap. So I think what I'll do is rough rags. We have 9, and I'm going to buy until we have 10. So we try to keep a minimum amount. And then for basic clothing, we'll buy until we have like 5. So we keep a very low baseline of this stuff. And that should help to keep people happy and clothed. Icefire, thank you for the resub. And Bubba Shug, which somehow I missed, and I apologize. Cheers. Hey, Tacos, thank you for the resub too. I'm going to prioritize the sawing places so that we can actually get the sawn wood. Looks... Oh, there we go. So the 2 sawing places got built. I am going to knock down the old ones. And hire max employees for both of the new ones. Put in the rough hewn stone for the processing speed. And raw wood for the storage. I'm not going to worry about the other... Well, actually, no, I'm not going to worry about that. And hopefully this will help with our planks bottleneck, because there's a lot less travel distance now. We've just needed planks badly. So there's still 4 more people that like don't have work, don't have jobs. I know I have a lot of like the root cellar and the granary in the process of being built, plus the bakery. So there is a lot of stuff, a lot new jobs that will open up soon. And I think I'm going to be patient. We have a new notice. Icy winter. An icy winter whistles through the houses of the town, and people's clouds of breath seem thicker than usual. A good supply of firewood and warm blankets are indispensable for the winter. Alright. So here's the temperature overlay, and as you can see, it's pretty cold. Pretty cold indeed. Who else is sad? Roland. Because you're unemployed? Fine. Work is an optional worker there. An optional worker here. An optional worker here. And an optional worker here. There, everyone's employed. You're welcome. It's basically like they're builders now. Working to build those things. I don't know if that's actually going to solve the like happiness issue, but good enough. We are getting some hypothermia risk. it... That might be something I want to place up here. A fin torch. To keep that outpost warm. And then maybe that's it, because that's like pretty far away from definitive warming. Because if they got hypothermic up here, the travel time to get somewhere warm would be a waste of like the entire day. So that's having a single worker up there supplying a fin torch may be net positive efficiency, to phrase it like that. Alright, that bakery is like moments away from being done. And almost everything else is just like a lack of planks. Yeah, it's almost entirely planks. Is that something that Tableland sells? Yes, they do have planks for sale. That'd be another potential thing to buy. Materials, buy until, let's say, 10. Let's look at the trade log. We have bought rough rags from Hochdorf. So we know that that trade's already been helpful to us. Bakery is done. So now that the bakery is done, the bakery just has a much larger internal storage for baking bread. And then there's the baking meat in batter, which is a different food source, which somewhat so the reason why I left the campfire up this whole time is there was no other making raw meat into food path. But now we have this, and I'm going to leave the campfire on because the campfire doesn't require flour, and we don't really have a lot of flour. But it allows the baker to, if you have a very good supply of flour, turn meat into edible food too. With this built, let's get rid of the simple baker's oven because we really don't need that anymore. So, Mr. Phillip, you are going to go find employment in your new bakery. Or not, because it got filled up by other people. And then we have another task, a worry about grandmother. Branches, rough, rags, bread and milk. Sure, I'll accept that. And then for the bakery, let's spend grass to use less wood. Spend rough hewn stone to use less wood. But I'm not going to worry about the internal storage yet. And there we go, bakery. So we still have the hand mill. Because the bakery doesn't replace the hand mill. Oh, I forget. Where does the hand mill get replaced? I think at the windmill? Yeah. Which is tier 5, so like we're not there yet. Good. One of our next tier buildings actually did get built, which is nice. So if I open up the temperature overlay, the fin torch is keeping that mining outpost warm, and then like people can warm up from the campfire here. That works pretty well. So we're still working on the granary. Still working on the farm. The farm needs 16 planks. Granary needs 14. The stonecutter needs 3, and the stonecutter is the highest priority. So pretty soon the stonecutter. Oh, there we go. Grandmother got fed. There was an incident with a wolf, but the hunter saved you. Okie dokie, good. You're subbing for the Icarus VOD? Well, thank you for the resub. I'm glad you like that series. So stonemason is almost being done, and that's going to help to have better roads, which is kind of a big deal when you have a colony that is like so spread out like mine is, where like lumber comes from one corner and bronze or tin comes from another. Well, the movement speed bonus is going to be really nice once that's built. And there it is. So Heidi and Sepp are working in there. But now that we have that up, I'm going to get rid of the old ones. 1 and 2. Somehow I missed the click. And I'll fill all the slots here. So we have 1 unemployed person, which they will eventually work in the granary. And then the farm is just like for probably moving half of our farmers over to the new farm. Because I think our farm, they just didn't have enough crops to even do stuff with. But with the new stonemason workshop up, they're hewing stones, and then stone blocks, and then stonework. And stonework would be required for like a church or something. All right, let's give them as many upgrades as we can. So wool for processing tools once we have more wool. What's your deal? Do you not understand? Okay. He said he was having path-hopping problems, but that's just not true. Dike Construction. A letter from Simone of Rasenna. Greetings. I've returned from a trip to the East Coast. The people there are starving. There is fertile land, but is regularly flooded by the sea. I don't think that would be true. I mean, it would be salted land, but whatever. We can make it arable by building weirs. It would be very grateful if you could help us with that. So they want bronze tools, raw wood, grass. I'll agree for this, but then immediately pause it because, like, I don't produce bronze tools yet, so, like, they can just wait. Can cats stop stealing my milk? Well, milk brings all the cats to the barn. I'm gonna start putting cats as a hunting. I'm kidding. Let's take a look at the census to make sure. Oh god, I stopped hunting red deer, and it was, yeah, that was red deer. So rat populations dropped a lot because we started hunting them. Sheep populations honestly didn't really change very much, but the red deer spiked, so we're gonna go back to hunting red deer. And the carpenter's workshop is done. So the furniture that we can build in the carpenter's workshop from planks, which of course is really difficult, is going to be really handy because the furniture in the carpenter's workshop allows you to do a lot of the like upgrades. So like better sleep in the cabins, or processing speed for the tailor shop 50%. That one's massive. That's amazing. And then bronze tool for another 50% once we get bronze tools. You know, so there's a lot of big upgrades that require furniture, so it doesn't necessarily immediately benefit you. But in the long run, it will be really nice to have. And the root cellar just got made. So the root cellar, let's see, branches, pottery, furniture, and processing speed. Let's hire someone in the root cellar as well. So Philip, you are going to go fill that spot. Good. So now we'll be able to have a nice huge stockpile of fruits, veggies, and dairy products. What is the benefit of better sleep? You know, I'm not entirely sure. I think like energy levels for the individual worker for their work speed benefits, like their endurance, walk, run, productivity type stuff. Because there's also these like genetic effects, which I am not really sure how they play a role. So I had wanted to start colonying, or whatever you want to call it. And in order to start that, I think we need a source of lead. The hills is a little bit warmer than the lakes. So, like, maybe the hills? So if we click on the hills, it's now just like a new empty map tile. There's like nothing here, right? And if you want to start resource exploiting, you would just find a lead vein, which there's only one around. Find a lead vein, start it, yeah, here it is, in this corner. Is that true? No, this place is full of lead, never mind. There's only one tin, all the rest is lead. So find a lead vein that also has all the required resources around it that you would want to grow. Exploit that vein, and then trade that stuff back to HQ. So I'm just getting a lay of the land. I don't really know which one I want. But, like I said, you wouldn't necessarily want to do this in the winter anyway. But it's essentially just like building a new colony, right? You would, the way to actually functionally do it, if we go back to Yoda Valley, is you hit transfer. Not diplomacy, but transfer. So you hit transfer. You then can pick the people you want to transfer. So generally the way I do this is, I admit immigrants who will be at progress tier 0 with 0%, knowing that they're like brand new to the community. That way I'm not losing rank progress from them. And then you would click them and transfer them from Yoda Valley to the hills to relocate. And you can relocate resources, you can relocate people, but generally what you want is to have the new colonies be self-sufficient so that you don't have to constantly, periodically import stuff to them. I mean, you can if you want, but I think it's probably just easier for it to be like, you know, a basic agrarian mini village that also gets lead or also gets iron or whatever it is that you're looking to get. And I had thought that there'd be more time in the stream for me to kick off the multi-colony mechanics. But at the very least, you can see that would be functionally how you would set it up. Is there a win condition? I don't know. That you haven't died? I mean, I somewhat jest, but it's also pretty easy to die in this game, so it's not purely a jest. If you're wondering how to die, it would be like setting up a multi-colony and then neglecting them to death. Or starvation, freezing to death. There's a lot of different ways. The exposure and lack of food or water is a pretty quick death. Okay, the granary is done. Wilkin, who didn't have work, is going to work in there. I'm going to set it up with some pottery and furniture to be able to store tons of grain. And the granary isn't just cereal grains, it's also wool, leather, grass, barks, root, leaves. Stores all that stuff. You can turn it off if you want, just only store grain, but I kind of like storing a little bit of everything because you can stockpile in a big way. And we'll get that set up and Nice storage space. And the root cellar likewise does the same thing, but for fruits and veggies, obviously. So the secondary farm got built. And what that means is we are just about ready to expand our population again, and then to fill those slots, those new slots with people. So let's do that. Some sort of notice? What happened? I have no idea. Probably a new immigration wave or something. So all we need is raw wood and stone for the rest of this house. All the other materials got delivered really fast. The bronze, the pottery, etc. Oh, and there it is. Oh, I know what happened. I have a lot of empty open work. Wait, oh, well, that's the farm. So let's go ahead and invite 4 new people in. And I am going to focus on wheat on the new farm. So this is going to be just all grain. And I'm just filling up all the slots that the farm can reach with grain fields. It's just going to be one massive field of grain. One could make the argument of like, you should put in fences. And it's like, yeah, I mean, fencing it up might keep wild animals from eating it. The thing is, if I grow so much grain that like, wild animals could not possibly eat all of it, that might just be easier for me to deal with. I'd rather feed the wild animals than have something to hunt. So there we go. Massive grain farm. And, I'm upgrading for space, and I don't have the tools for collection speed, but there we go. We'll get that going. And then it's about to be the 1st of spring, and that will allow us to get so many cereal grains. Plus now I have like 2,500 storage for cereal grains, so it allows us to sit on a lot of food. I know that the available of food is low. It's like warning me or whatever. But it's honestly not that bad. We have a lot of fresh fruits and veggies available, and a constant income of meat and all that jazz. So it's not like I'm about to die or anything like that. So we have space. We had space for 4, and then someone got born. At our progression level, as soon as there's like houses that have room, so like Ur's here is probably 0. You're how old are you? 0? Yeah. As soon as you have houses that have space, you end up that area ends up getting filled in pretty quick. We also have our first 8 stone blocks. So maybe as a nice thing to do is put in the first of our like main road. And just show you the bonus of the road. I mean, it's not much. Not that fancy, but still. We'll plop that in. if I can get them to actually do it. I mean, it's a work site and it takes a minute, and it's low priority, so I'll put one in the crossroads. So this farm isn't really going to be able to do very much until the fields have been sown and grow. So it's a lot of farmers sitting around not being all that productive. I guess they're collecting grass, but that's about it. One other thing I could do before end of stream, which might be neat, is to upgrade the town hall with pottery, because it, unlike the other buildings that don't actually change in their look and design, upgrading the town hall with pottery provides you a very visible benefit, as you will see in a moment. At this point, we have completely filled up our supply of bronze parts. For the most part, we have like 30. And we're going to start making the tools. And what's really nice about that is that bronze tools is where you start to get a lot of bang for your buck in terms of work speed bonuses. Because bronze tools will typically add like 50 to 100% bonuses, and that's for every single person working in that facility, which is a big gain. Yeah, but there we go. We got our first little stonework crossroads. So just for demonstration purposes, because I'm basically at a stream, if I admit one more person to the colony, here is how I would do the transfer of people. So Tekla. I don't necessarily need to know their name's Tekla, because if I go to the transfer window here, and I look for someone that has tier 0 progress, here's Tekla at 0, 0. I can hit Tekla and send them to the hills. Add, and now they're going to actively be transferred from Yoda Valley to the hills. And then here in the hills, I would need to do the same sort of like colony setup, where we would want to probably initially get a gatherer, because if you can't feed yourself, you can't live. But gatherers require wood and raw wood. So generally when you transfer people, you'd want to start, like the game starts you off with 10, which is probably a few more than you actually need. But I would say like a new colony probably needs like 4 at least. So you need like wood, stone, food, and then whatever other work you're doing. Something akin to that. And you don't even really need food. You can get away with not having it outside of the winter, because they'll just like pick fruit off bushes and the like. But that would be essentially what you would want to do. So at some point, Tekla will arrive. Here she is, and she's like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. Great, we fed her to the Grey Wolf. So she arrived at this road that leads to Yoda Valley, and there happens to be a lead deposit right here. Perfect, because we need lead for one of the quests. Not that I'm going to be able to do it in time, but whatever. We need lead for one of the quests, and we could either send over like the rough rags, branches, and wood that we would need to be able to supply this for a deposit. But what makes the most sense is to have, like, you know, most of your outposts be a little, at least a little self-sufficient, which is generally what I aim for. So Tekla in this case will become our lumberjack, because that's the first workplace that is like essentially free. And create the mud road back to town, and that's the long and short of it. I can see, I can imagine that you guys can understand how to extrapolate from here. But once you have that set up, then you go to the diplomacy screen, like you do again for transfers, and you can set up a transfer to or from the hills as soon as you get the market station. So once you have the ability to have a market, you can send resources back, like in this case lead, back to Yoda Valley to be used for glassworks or quests or whatever. And that becomes really important when you push for iron, because iron is iron tools and iron stuff is required for basically everything, and you can't supply it, generally speaking, your first town, depending on the towns you pick. And I think that, friends, is where I am to leave off for this stream. Thank you for tuning in to Of Life and Land, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, fellow settlers.